What's going on, family? I'm going to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa for those who celebrate it. Uh, Welcome to Nonfiction with Jonathan Soul. Now, I wanted to talk about um, the very volatile place that American society is in right now. Um, it started with a book. The book that I'm referring to is called, let me bring it up here. The Changing World Order, Why Nations Succeed and Fail by Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio owns an investment company. They manage billions of dollars in assets. And he invests globally. And so it's very important for him and his clients to know like business cycles and political cycles of various countries and markets so they can invest, wisely and so forth. So he basically did a study of, you've heard of a business cycle, things go up and down in the market. Well, there's similar cycles to countries, political systems. And he made a study of it and he put it in this book. And briefly, I want to talk about that, which will give a context to this article that's in that I read about three generals. It's an opinion piece in Washington Post. They're urging the Pentagon to take actions to prevent another insurrection attempt in 2024. Okay, so context. Countries go through cycles, okay? Now, this is off my memory. The cycles are like this. There's a revolution where the people are discontent and they have a civil war, okay? So then that's the first phase. Second phase is the people won the Civil War have to kind of restore order. So they have to build their own system, and they put things in place that'll keep a government running. In some cases, they kind of squash their competitors, and sometimes they even fight amongst themselves. Right? Okay, so the first phase is the revolution. Forgive me, and the Civil War. Second phase is the people won the Civil War. They kind of sort out who's actually going to rule, and sometimes they squash their competitors. In some places, they purge their competitors. Okay, that's the second one. All right, the third phase is when things are they're starting to build up the economy, and people are starting to see a way to prosper and get ahead. That's the third phase. And just for context, this cycle takes about 100 years, according to Ray Dalio. So the third phase is, it's a few years after a war, a lot of times, and people are starting to be able to provide for their families, find jobs, start businesses, things of that sort. The fourth phase is now, the economy is going good. People are starting to prosper. And again, this is off my memory. People are starting to prosper well. But now people aren't as frugal as they used to be. And there's a little bit of, I would say, decadent spending. Like some, maybe you're going into debt to buy a car that you couldn't afford without the debt. Or maybe you buy a house that you really can't afford. You're starting to go into debt behind it. And so when you hit the fifth phase is now the government is starting to overspend. They're borrowing to keep social programs afloat. It looks like the government certain programs may be going into bankruptcy, like they can't afford to do it. And if I remember correctly, at this point, the places where the government can borrow money is starting to get few and far between. And people have a real sense of insecurity about the stability of the government and the stability of the country. That's the fifth phase. And then the last phase is civil war. So Ray Dalio is saying we're in the fifth phase right now. Okay. Now, you say, well, how can you figure we're in the fifth phase? The fifth phase, the government is basically borrowing money in order to maintain services. And then they have to, increase taxes. And if you guys listen to me at all, I'm sure I said it more than once. The people who pay the taxes is the working people. The poor don't pay taxes because they fall below the poverty line, and you know, they don't have that taxable income. A lot of them are on social services, you know, or they hustling. You know what I mean? They own the underground economy. The wealthy, a lot of times, don't pay taxes or pay a very small amount of taxes because they have the lawyers and the CPAs that know all the loopholes. And not only that, every fucking president, particularly the Republicans, passed like a permanent tax cut for the rich. And so you know, Bush did it. I'm not sure if Obama did it. I know Trump did it for sure. So Bush W. So, you know, they have all these advantages. So they pay, you know, in terms of percentage, a very low in tax. And of course, businesses, they don't pay a lot in taxes because they got the. So the government, because they, you know, allow the rich to pay a lot less than their fair share, and you know, the working class. I don't even want to say middle class anymore, because what is that really? What is middle class? Am I middle class because I got a college education? All that means is I got a college education. You know, I mean, I ain't ashamed to say that that college education cost a lot of money, and was it really worth it? I wonder. I wonder. Yeah. I wonder if it's really worth it. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that if you look, so when I look at the financial news, they talk about Social Security going insolvent. What was I've heard in 2030, I've heard 2040, but the fact that they're even saying it's going insolvent lets us know that that's a major government program that people rely upon. Now, you can't live off Social Security, but it might be enough to pay for meds or something along those lines. Now, of course, this is 2021 when I'm recording this. Matter of fact, it is December the 22nd. So January 6, 2021 is still fresh in my mind when those people, those traitors, those Confederates ran up in the Capitol trying to stop the count, you know, for the election, the little ballot counts or whatever. So they went. I'm recording this at night, if you have noticed. That's still fresh in my mind. What's also fresh in my mind, this being December 2021, is that even though a few hundred people got arrested, I don't remember nobody getting no terrorism charges. What could be more terrorist than you running up in the Capitol and you got the members of Congress stop what they doing and got to hide and shelter in place in the office? That's terrorism. But nobody that I'm aware of is getting them charges. So here we go. We got this article in the Washington Post. Three retired generals are urging the Pentagon to take action to prevent a 2024 insurrection. Now, why are generals talking about this? The reason why they're talking about it is because not only did they quote it, but I heard the Pentagon press secretary quote it. There's over 100 servicemen and women that were a part of that insurrection. Over 100. Now, the article says 124. That's probably lowballing it. So what does that mean? That means we got people with military training running up into Congress trying to stop an election. And then if you look at the video, matter of fact, I'm going to give y'all go to ProPublica. ProPublica is like a publicly funded or donation, long form interview, long form journalism, old school journalism. They compiled like video clips from people's phones that was there January 6th. And there's one page where they have it paired up with the people who are going to trial, so you can see all their faces and everything. It was police there. It was firefighters there. It was politicians there. Regular working class people there. Some people had money that was there. All to stop Congress from counting the votes, to stop our election. How can you get? How can that not be treason? How can that not be terrorist? But what I saw was people getting, damaged federal property. They were getting like everything but terrorism. So I feel like the generals may be looking at this too and saying, hey, if you guys don't stop this, we're going to get it again, but it's just going to be more refined. So that's basically where we are. Now, in my mind, there's another way to stop this. To me, there's nothing that reduces crime more than a full belly. There's nothing that reduces crime more than a full belly. And that's for people who commit crimes out of desperation. The people that ran up in January 6th, to me, I don't think they were desperate. I think they were arrogant. They're like, this is our country. We can do what we want. The rules don't apply to us. And the cops didn't even fire on them. Now, when the people that came up under the Black Lives Matter banner, that's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, the Black Lives Matter, they was lined up like the stormtroopers. Those people came, peacefully. But when you got people breaking windows and stuff, they ain't had nothing for them. The one person that got shot that I'm aware of, the guy, I saw that shit live on Twitter, if I remember correctly, if memory serves. They was going, I think it was like Nancy Pelosi's office or whatever. It was a double door. They had barricaded the door. Her security detail had Secret Service had barricaded the door. They were breaking through the window. It was so interesting. It was guys breaking through the window. And when the window finally got broken, they let a woman go through. I don't know what type of men they're building nowadays, but they let a woman go through, and then 3 shots, if I remember correctly, took her down. Anyway, what's the point? The point is, I think if Congress and the Senate, Congress, the House and Senate, was able to pass bills where people wouldn't get thrown out of their houses or their rented apartments, if people could have, enough money to buy food and medicine and shelter. Because think about it. This COVID shit is going every place. And thankfully, this latest version of COVID, this Omicron, seems to be milder. But you still got headaches. That means you got to buy aspirin. You might take something for your fever. That costs money. They giving you the test for free, but they're not giving you aspirin for free. They're not giving you. So, people need that. Transportation, the whole bit. I don't know if you've had this experience in your life, and this is related to the economy. How often have you heard about people being laid off like 2 weeks before Christmas? I worked at a place. If I remember correctly, it might have been 20 people that was brought in. They worked on a task. We thought it was going to be permanent. I remember this is the first time I ever heard of Black Friday. Not Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The first time I ever heard of Cyber Monday. Heard of Black Friday, but these people were buying all this stuff and everything, and people was kind of, yeah, man, I got this deal, 2 weeks before Christmas, they let them go. There's this news outlet called the Black News Channel. It came out under Trump. When Trump got in office, it's like a quote unquote conservative kind of a thing. And me, I'm a newsie, I'm a researcher. I said, Black News Channel, eh? You know what I mean? Dig. It's an Indian guy and a white guy that own it. This Indian guy, he owns the Jaguars, I think, a football team. The white dude, I can't remember. And they had like a black senator from the Midwest to front for him, but whatever. They laid off most of their people a couple weeks before Christmas. Things like that make people insecure, angry, and make people dangerous. America, from what I can tell and what Ray Dalio, who knows a hell of a lot more than me, is saying is America is right on the brink of a civil war. What does that mean? That means that people are fighting the Civil War. See, we always thought the Civil War, black people, white people and black people fighting each other. I'm going to be honest with you. Black people are a non-factor in this scenario. on January 6th, they wasn't running up in black neighborhoods. They was running up in the White House. And now you got an 80-year-old guy in there who doesn't look very strong to me, and you got an Indian lady who don't seem to know what the fuck to do unless she's talking to a black person interviewing her, and then she got all the answers. You know, just shut them down. You know what I mean? She's real quick to get the head bouncing and the neck rolling and everything, but I mean, this task that Biden had given her, I don't see her doing that. She ain't bouncing her head and stuff down at the border, is she? I mean, that shit popping off overseas, and I mean, what is she doing? So America doesn't look very strong right now in terms of the administration. How is Pelosi and them going to send a bill or get ready to send the bill over to the Senate, knowing that Manchin is not feeling it like that? That, you know, when the Democrats are in charge, they always some people. You know, when Obama was in office, they called them blue dog Democrats. We never heard these motherfuckers before, but they come out the woodwork. How you don't prepare for that? That's bad leadership. That's bad leadership. But I believe that and I'll wrap this up, I believe that the Democrats' strategy is to be the permanent underdog and to win by losing. So there's a such thing as a continuity of policy, regardless of the party. That continuity of policy comes from the people who provide the money. Okay, the fundraiser, the super PACs, the Soros of the world. That's the policy that gets done. They put Democrats and Republicans in front of us, depending on what the wind is, but they all push the same policy. So if the Democrats put in legislation that fails, then the continuity is protected. If the Republicans put in policy that wins, the continuity is protected. And I think that's what we're seeing. So we have to look out for ourselves. Obviously, we have to be frugal. We all should get a passport just in case. And, govern ourselves accordingly. I would definitely suggest The Changing World Order, that book from Ray Dalio. And I definitely would suggest you guys do some serious reading on where we are in this cycle as a country and do what you're supposed to do for yourself and your family. This is Jonathan Soul, jonathansoul.com. I usually talk about comic books, and I just put up a comic book video of a really groovy series on Godhood Comics. And the series is called The Antagonist. And you really, if you got any kind of political sensibilities, one, you wouldn't have made it this long through the video. Two, I think you'll really love that book. It's a mature book, and it's really groovy. You can get it in digital imprint. I have a sci-fi novel called Malcolm Mars. I wrote the sci-fi novel that I wanted to read. Three brothers took their families in a homemade starship to Mars and built a life for themselves. And then some people got left behind, and then there's some intrigue and battles and things of that sort, aliens and the whole bit. And it's just it's blickety black, you know what I mean? But not just like real, you know what I mean? So I think you guys enjoy it. John the Soul, jonathansoul.com. I love you guys and hope all your dreams come true. Peace.